Kant. What is enlightenment? The very question, what is enlightenment, as posed by Immanuel Kant in his seminal 1784 essay, is not merely an academic inquiry. It's a philosophical declaration of independence, a clarion call for the human spirit to finally come of age. It's a profound, yet remarkably accessible argument for the courage of independent thought. To truly grasp Kant's vision, we must move beyond the standard dictionary definition of the Enlightenment as a historical period and delve into the more challenging, intimate meaning he assigns to it. Sapere aude, the motto of maturity. Kant provides the most concise and powerful summary of his entire argument in the famous Latin phrase, sapere aude. This is often translated as dare to know, but a more accurate and vibrant translation, one that captures the inherent challenge, is dare to be wise, or, more colloquially, have the courage to use your own understanding. For Kant, the essence of immaturity, which he terms minority, is not a lack of intelligence, but a self-imposed inability to use one's own reason without guidance from another. Think of it as intellectual laziness or cowardice. We find it so much more comfortable to let a pastor, a doctor, a political leader, or a social media influencer do our thinking for us. They become our guardians. If I have a book that thinks for me, a spiritual director who acts as my conscience, and a physician who prescribes my regimen, then I have no need to exert myself. I can simply pay, and the unpleasant task of thinking is taken care of. The vast majority of humanity, Kant observes, remains happily in the state of immaturity for life. Why? Not because they are incapable, but because the guardians have made the step toward independent thought seem both dangerous and difficult. The chains of self-imposed servitude. Kant astutely identifies the mechanisms by which this self-imposed servitude is maintained. The guardians, he argues, first make their domestic animals, the immature public, tame and prevent them from venturing out of the pen. They then point out the dangers that threaten if they try to walk alone. These dangers are often exaggerated or entirely fabricated. Precepts and formulas. Kant views dogmas, rules, and formulas as the shackles of a perpetual immaturity. They are useful tools, but when they become absolute laws that discourage questioning, they become restraints. It's easy to follow a recipe. It's hard to understand the chemistry of cooking and invent a new dish. The fear of the unknown. The biggest deterrent is the simple fear of failure. If I follow my own understanding and I am wrong, I am solely responsible. If I follow my guardian and they are wrong, the blame is theirs. The comfort of accountability avoidance is a strong psychological motivator to remain immature. The escape from this state is difficult, even for an individual. It requires a profound, almost revolutionary shaking off of the yoke of comfortable dependence. Public versus private use of reason. This is arguably the most nuanced and critical distinction in Kant's essay, showing his pragmatism and political sensitivity. He wasn't calling for outright anarchy or revolution against the state. He was calling for intellectual freedom alongside civic duty. 1. The private use of reason, the citizen or employee. This refers to the use of reason that a person makes in a specific civic post or office entrusted to them. Here, Kant argues, submission and obedience are necessary. For example, as a soldier, you must obey the command of your superior in the moment. You cannot stop during a battle to publicly debate the moral efficacy of the military campaign. As a priest, you must teach the official doctrine of your church to your congregation, as you are employed to do so. You cannot, while standing at the pulpit, suddenly reject the fundamental tenets of your faith. This private use is a pragmatic constraint essential for the functioning of society. It's a temporary, necessary limitation on speech in a specific role. 2. The public use of reason, the scholar or intellectual. This refers to the use of reason that a person makes as a scholar or a man of learning before the entire reading public. Here, Kant states, freedom must be absolute. The same soldier, once off duty, can and should submit his criticisms of the tactical errors or moral legitimacy of the war to a public journal, addressing the world of readers. The same priest, as a scholar addressing the public, has unlimited freedom to discuss the flaws in his church's doctrine or propose alternatives, even as he continues his duty to teach the official line to his parishioners. Enlightenment, for Kant, is the maximum and free use of the public reason. It is the freedom to critique and analyze the very institutions one serves privately, which allows for gradual, informed, and peaceful progress in society. The role of the prince and the age of enlightenment. Kant wrote this during the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia, whom he cautiously praises as an enlightened monarch. He argues that a leader who is not afraid to say, "Argue as much as you like and about whatever you like, but obey," is the one who fosters true enlightenment. Kant concludes that his age was not yet an enlightened age, but rather an age of enlightenment, a time when the obstacles to general enlightenment were gradually diminishing. The engine of this change is the growing freedom of the press and the public's willingness to critique religious matters, which he saw as the most potent and long-standing source of human tutelage. When people are free to think for themselves in the most sacred of matters, they will soon demand the same freedom in politics and art. In essence, Kant's What is Enlightenment is a beautiful and urgent essay reminding us that maturity is not an inevitable biological process, but a choice, a courageous, conscious act of intellectual self-liberation. It's about leaving the cozy but confining nursery of dogma for the dazzling, sometimes scary, expanse of independent thought. If you enjoyed this detailed exploration of Kant's challenging and timeless ideas, please consider liking this video to help share this philosophy with others. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the core questions of history's greatest thinkers. And drop a comment below with your answer. What is the one major guardian you feel humanity needs to challenge today? Let's start the discussion.